It's been 2 years since Brooklyn Farthing went missing. Coming up, you'll hear from her family on how tough her disappearance has been.
It is probably our most unusual complaint. We've had some pretty strange ones, but it sits right up there.
An alligator, of all things, turns up outside a central Kentucky home. Now investigators want to know how it got there.
These IDs pose a much more serious problem than you might think. We'll tell you why coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good afternoon. It has been 2 years since a Madison County teenager went missing.
Brooklyn Farthing was 18 when she was last seen at a home in Berea. Police have followed up on countless tips since then, but they still don't have any leads. Tonight, our Sam Smith sits down with Farthing's sister, who says she never dreamed this case would go this long unsolved. It's our top story at 5:30.
June 22nd, 2013.
She was just a sweet, sweet girl.
That's when Brooklyn Farthing was last seen. She just graduated.
She said it was going to be the greatest summer of her life.
Her sister, Tasha Thomas, says Brooklyn was at a party at a home on Dillon Court in Berea before she went missing. Now, 2 years later, Thomas never dreamed this case would go this long without being solved.
I wouldn't have imagined it being over a week. And it was like a week turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and months turned into years.
Brooklyn's family has raised more than $14,000 for anyone with information that could help bring her home.
You don't want to give up, but some days you just don't know what else to do.
They launched a website, findbrookefarthing.com, where people can learn more about her or share leads in this case.
We're still getting information. Some of it may be good and some of it may lead us nowhere, but we're still actively following up on every piece of information.
We think that one person knows, and they're just keeping it to themselves because they don't want to be in trouble.
She says 2 years is long enough.
She's somewhere. She either needs to be brought home or laid to rest. She's somewhere.
In Madison County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
There was a fundraiser for the reward fund last week. The total is expected to increase from the $14,000 mark. That new total has not been calculated.
The rain may have left the bluegrass, but the tropical-like weather is still sticking around. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at the summer forecast.
Yeah, it really is. We're finally into summer. It certainly feels the part. It's felt the part for the better part of the past 3 or 4 weeks across the land. And still tracking a couple of scattered showers trying to pop in the bluegrass region. We look outside. Temperatures today not bad at all. Mid-80s, as warm as it could get for many of us. Though we have the tropical clouds. That's a look at Defender in our backyards with a lot of the overcast over top of it. 85, 67% humidity. Feels like 92 degrees outside. You walk outside, you feel like something's got to give. Got to get at least a raindrop or two out of this, right? Well, probably so. Live First Alert Defender is now tracking a little bit of action across parts of the Lexington Metro, points southwest along and just to the south of the Bluegrass Parkway. Get into areas of 127 between Harrodsburg and Danville. One teeny tiny shower on the Boyle and Mercer County line. Additional action trying to crank to the southwest of us across sections of I-65. A couple of weak boundaries are driving in from northwest to southeast. Those are like mini cold fronts that are out there, and any one of those could mean a scattered thunderstorm where you live, though a lot of dry times. This evening, we stay into the muggy upper 70s as we roll toward the latter part of the evening. When I come back in about 10 minutes, we'll focus on rounds of thunderstorms and the potential for severe weather, and oh, by the way, a big cooler change showing up in the 7-day in 10 minutes.
One man is recovering tonight after a fight this weekend leads to a shooting. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Knox County. State police say Jason Marcy and Ford Collett got into a fight at Marcy's home near Barberville. Troopers say Collett drove to Marcy's house, got out of his vehicle, and pulled out a weapon. They believe that the two had gotten into a fight, and Marcy shot Collett in the side.
And then flown out to University of Tennessee.
Marcy was arrested for an unrelated warrant. He has not been charged for the shooting. We're told the case will be sent on to the grand jury. In Bullitt County, no charges have been filed in a stabbing death at an interstate rest area. Shepherdsville police say 44-year-old Aaron Michael Jarrell of Alabama died along Interstate 65 at mile marker 113 on Saturday afternoon. His body was outside a vehicle. A female passenger in the vehicle was questioned by Shepherdsville police, but after officers consulted with the prosecutor's office, she was then released. And in Nelson County, deputies are looking for the person responsible for a burglary. It happened at Tingle Used Auto Sales on Chaplin Road. Deputies say someone broke into the business and it was caught on a surveillance camera. Deputies did not say what was stolen.
State and local leaders meeting today to go over the status of a Jessamine County project that went into the state's road plan 20 years ago. Today, the governor joined leaders to announce that the East Bypass project is planned to begin this fall. The project will be done in 3 phases. Leaders say the project has been on hold for years, mainly because of funding, but now they have the green light to move forward with the 4-lane highway.
We'll direct traffic off of the congested areas of US 27, the West Bypass, Kentucky 39, and Kentucky 169. And it'll improve the linkage among Nicholasville, its industrial parks, Lexington, and Garrett County.
The first phase of construction will run from Kentucky 39, Sulphur Well Road, south to US 27. When all 3 phases are finished, the East Bypass will span about 7.5 miles with a total cost of about $123 million. Officials say this bypass would be a main component of the Interstate 75 connector if that project ever moves forward. And a portion of Man O' War Boulevard back open again this afternoon after a crash. Lexington police say the driver of an SUV lost control on the outer loop of Man O' War near Beaumont Center and went over an embankment. It happened about 1:30. 3 people inside the SUV were trapped and had to be cut out, but police say those 3 people were not seriously hurt.
Well, it is an unusual discovery outside a central Kentucky home. This morning, someone found an alligator in an outdoor goldfish pond in Nicholasville. It was a first for the Jessamine County Animal Care. Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk for us with the details on this find. Jennifer, how big are we talking of an alligator here?
Amber, it's 2 feet long. Jessamine County Animal Care and Control got the call about an alligator in a backyard goldfish pond on Hickory Hill Drive. At first, officials figured it was going to turn out to be a lizard, but when the officer got there, he realized the caller was right. Here it is. Public Services Director Mike Cassidy says in his 15 years with the agency, he has never seen an alligator.
A gentleman started the conversation by saying, "You're not going to believe this." So he goes into telling me that his mother had come in from outside in the backyard screaming that there's an alligator in her fish pond. The gentleman didn't believe her, so he went out to see for himself, and of course he found an alligator.
The big question is, how did it get there? One theory is that someone visited Florida and brought the gator back, which is illegal. Cassidy says if that's the case, the person will be punished. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife is investigating. It's expected to send someone to pick up the gator on Thursday. For now, it's at the home of an employee with Jessamine County Animal Care and Control. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
Well, that is quite a find, Jennifer. Thank you. Now, once the Department of Fish and Wildlife picks up the alligator, it will likely end up at either the Louisville or Cincinnati Zoo.
The streets outside the Louisville Police Department were filled with protesters today in response to what they call an attack. In a letter last week, FOP President David Mutchler said the FOP is finished with sensationalists, liars, and race baiters. Today, protesters spilled into the streets demanding that Mutchler be fired this week. The mayor and the police chief released a statement saying that Mutchler's letter was written in a threatening tone and does not represent the views of the majority of the city's officers and citizens. Mutchler said he will not resign and that writing the letter was part of his role as FOP president.
A former state employee will spend more than a decade in prison for downloading child pornography. Gordon Bowers of London admitted to downloading 40,000 images from the internet while at work back in February of 2014. Bowers had worked at the London State Office building. A judge sentenced Bowers to 13 years in federal prison. Under federal law, Bowers has to serve at least 85% of his sentence. He was also ordered to pay $35,000 in restitution.
When you hear the words fake ID, you probably think of underage kids trying to buy alcohol. But the IDs we're about to tell you about pose a much greater risk. It started with a routine traffic stop and ended with a trooper busting a multi-million-dollar fake ID ring.
The trooper had seen fake IDs before, but was impressed with the quality of these IDs.
After being questioned, the teenagers admitted they had bought the IDs to purchase alcohol and told the trooper how they got them. Inspectors say the teenagers had sent thousands of dollars along with personal information to get these fake IDs.
Purchasers of the IDs use their official university email address. At that point, you're now sharing your university email address along with your mailing address and your name and other information to now an illegal business.
In addition to the issue of underage drinking, the high-quality IDs posed an even more serious problem.
It really presented a national security issue because the way the business was set up was one customer could purchase fraudulent IDs for any other number of customers as well.
Postal inspectors have some advice for young people. Don't give out your personal information to anyone, and think twice before making a mistake that will follow you for the rest of your life.
Don't do something now for a temporary pleasure that you're going to greatly regret later. In some states, possessing and using and presenting a fraudulent identification is a felony, and that can ruin your career from the very beginning.
The two masterminds behind this scheme made more than 20,000 fake IDs and are serving between 4 and 5 years in prison.
U.S. Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul is giving up money that a white supremacist donated to his campaign.
Bill Bryant tells us where Paul is shifting that money to in the bottom line.
Good evening. Republican presidential candidate and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is giving up money donated by a white supremacist to his campaign and shifting it to the families of the victims of the Charleston, South Carolina church shootings. Paul's campaign announced today it will take money given to it by Earl Holt III, the president of the White Nationalist Council of Conservative Citizens, and donate it to the Mother Emanuel Hope Fund. His fellow senator and presidential candidate Ted Cruz says he will return a donation from Holt. Kentucky's only Democratic member of Congress says he will run again next year. John Yarmouth, who represents the 3rd House District in Louisville, says some members of Congress stay there too long. Yarmouth told reporters today that if he runs again in 2018, that would be his last term on Capitol Hill. During its first days in operation, the Louisville Metro Health Department distributed nearly 1,400 needles and collected nearly 200 used syringes as the state's first needle exchange program got started. Lexington is in the process of setting up a needle exchange. They were approved as a local option under the new law designed to combat heroin abuse. And the Kentucky Health News blog is reporting that the Lake Cumberland District Health Department is using polling to convince some schools to make their campuses smoke-free. A poll in Clinton County shows more than 86% favor banning tobacco from school campuses. Casey County adopted a smoke-free policy after a poll there showed strong support for it. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
A special send-off today for 4 Central Kentuckians preparing to serve their country.
The ceremony took place at Fork Bank on Sir Barton Way. 2 will be attending the U.S. Naval Academy and another the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. The 4th is headed to West Point. Congressman Andy Barr nominated each of the students. He says it's a very competitive process.
Most young people do not get a nomination, let alone an appointment. So these 4 young men who are going to the Naval Academy, to the Military Academy, and to the Merchant Marine Academy, they're the best and brightest from our area, and we are very, very proud of them.
Upon graduating, each of the students will serve in the military of at least 5 years. The men are from Lexington, Winchester, and Richmond. Congratulations.